Hello and welcome to DownWithThat.Life. My name is Hutch. This is my wonderful and amazing wife, Cindy, and we're excited that we get to spend these next few minutes together with you. We wanted to just kind of take some time in this particular episode to kind of get Cindy's insights and thoughts on what we're doing with DownWithThat.Life and what it's like to be a mom of an adult with Down syndrome, as well as a mom who has given birth to 4 children in total. So she's a pretty amazing woman, at least I think so. Cindy, just real quick, and going way back to when Josh was first born, and the pediatrician told us that she thought maybe Josh had Down syndrome. I've kind of shared my thoughts before. What do you recall, the emotions, how you felt, what you thought at that moment in time when we very first heard that news he may have Down syndrome?
Yeah, I think it was a bit shocking because we had already held and enjoyed Josh for a little time and didn't think anything was wrong. He seemed like a beautiful baby.
He was a beautiful baby.
He was a beautiful baby. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like there was anything we could look at and go, oh, there's something really wrong here. So yeah, after she came in and had some concerns, it was a bit of a shock. And I really was in a bit of denial going, I don't think so. I think he's just fine.
Yeah.
He seems fine. But of course, he was our first baby. So we didn't really know what we were looking at or holding or anything like that. So yeah, I would say shock and then maybe some denial right away.
Yeah, and I remember the first time your dad saw Josh, he said he was beautiful, perfect, and looked just great. And so
not a thing wrong with that child.
Yeah, not a thing wrong with him. So that was kind of your dad. But let's fast forward now. We are 33 years down the road on this journey. Josh is an amazing adult, and our life is, we would say, unique because we have a 33-year-old son that still lives with us. Now, it wasn't a situation where he moved out and decided to move back in. It wasn't one of those deals. It's because of his disability that he has lived with us, and for the foreseeable future will always live with us until either one or both of us pass, and then hopefully his siblings will provide care for him. But what are your greatest concerns as we look forward to Josh's future?
Well, as any mother knows, you know your child best. So I feel like I know Josh pretty well, and there's still a lot of things I don't know. And that concerns me too, because we're still trying to figure things out. Josh's health issues change, his behaviors change, his routines change, and then we have to change with it. We have to figure out and think ahead what's going to be safest for Josh, and where does he need to be, and what does he need to be doing, and who's the best caregiver for him to have, and all those things. And if I have a hard time figuring it out, I'm wondering how difficult it would be for one of his siblings or someone else to figure that out. But overall, I would say that Hutch and I both pretty much know what Josh is thinking, even without him telling us. We pretty much know what he needs without him saying anything. And that has taken a long time. So the fact that he might need to go live with someone else who's not with him all the time and not around him, and then they have to figure all that out, is scary, because I feel like for his safety and for his welfare, someone needs to know all the things that we know. And I don't know how to transfer all that information over quickly to someone else.
Yeah, a lot of times we read his language, his body language, his facial expressions. We know a change in his patterns that still to this day, sometimes the patterns change and they get set for a little while, and then he decides to change them again. We're going through one of those phases right now, which is always a bit challenging, but keeps the excitement in being the parent of an adult with a disability. Now, Cindy and I have always been sort of serial entrepreneurs. We started a church together. Cindy started a homeschool enrichment business, and we started the Peer Center for Life Enrichment in 2011, where we work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We've been doing that ever since 2011, and now we are starting together this online community. And the reason that we really are starting this community is just for that community. There's a lot of times where we sit and we say to ourselves, does anybody understand what this is like? We feel all alone. And we started the Facebook page. We're really excited. We've got nearly 200 at this point participants in it, and there's some real good interaction taking place. Everyone, people from Florida to California to Washington State to Canada. One is in Hawaii, from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Michigan, and so we're glad to see that continue to grow. And we really wanted to create a place where we could do life together with others who understand. How important is that for you, that you have somebody to be able to relate to that you understand besides me?
Exactly. Well, I think that's the case of just feeling anyone wants to be in a setting where somebody gets them or understands what their struggles are, what pulls at their heart. And I can tell you, just recently we went to the National Down Syndrome Convention in Orlando, and I tell you, being at that hotel with about 3,000 Down syndrome people from infancy all the way to elderly, and to see their families and their parents together, I felt at home. I wish I could just stay here, because everyone here gets it. Like, we're all looking at each other. We're in the elevators together. We're in the halls. We're in the restaurants, and we just felt like this is where I want to be. We don't have to say, "Oh, excuse me," or "I'm sorry, he doesn't talk really well," or any of those things. It's not expected. Everybody understands, and there's just this camaraderie. And I think that's what you realize that we don't have enough of sometimes, especially as our children age into adulthood. And now it's so odd that Hutch and I are empty nesters, but we have a child living with us, and he is like a child, and he does need 24/7 care. So it's so different. And where do we fit? Where do we belong in our community, in the church? Anywhere. It just feels like we don't really fit, because we have this child that will forever be in our home, and he needs to come with us a lot of times, or we have to find childcare, or whatever has to happen, and nobody else that so much that we hang out with has to deal with that when they want to go out and do something, or they want to go on vacation, or they want to have go to small group, or whatever that is. We have a whole different level of things we have to deal with every time.
And we're in this interesting situation. We have our first grandson, who is just a little over a year old right now, and then we have a 33-year-old, and Josh is going to be and is a great uncle, and I think our grandson's really going to love having him to play with for a few years. But it's going to be hard, to be quite honest with you, to see him begin to pass Josh in a lot of areas, as it was with our other children, our other son and our two daughters. Past Josh, and then they started dating and they started driving. They graduated from high school and got married and moved out and all those things. And Josh is really an amazing person. He adapts real well. And we love traveling with him. He loves to travel and go, and so we're blessed in that way to have a guy who is as flexible as he is. But we really wanted to create the online community so that we could have that community that we don't have. Even when we've done, say, Bible studies or anything in our home, we've always done them in our home so that Josh would have a place to go, because we don't want to have to provide childcare for an adult at somebody else's expense or in some place else. And so those just are some of the things that parents of an adult with Down syndrome, or any disability for that matter, really have to go through, that a lot of people don't think. So we wanted to create DownWithThat.Life as a community, not to commiserate on how difficult our lives are. There's times where you want to be able to do that, but also to focus on the good. And Cindy has a tremendous heart for people in general, but really a lot of times she will say, "I feel like I'm with my people," when she's around Josh and the other people that we serve through the Pierce Center for Life in Richmond. And so she provides great service and ministry there. And then we also realized, as a pastor for many years, that we want to be able to minister to and care for the entire family, not just the adult with a disability. So we've worked real hard at that, in creating a safe place and a welcoming place for people with all kinds of different abilities to be. And this is just another reiteration of this, another extension of what we've been doing for years now. As we kind of start to wrap this up, Cindy, what would you have to say as we kind of close out this episode? Being a mom, special needs son, how would you kind of finish this up?
Well, honestly, I feel like for so many years we focused on the the child with Down syndrome and their needs, but really, if we are helping the parents and the family and the caregivers who care for them, if we're providing support for them, we are helping the person with Down syndrome. We've kind of missed that aspect, I think, in all the things we've thought about and done. We've been focused on making sure the adults have what they need, but really we need to focus on the families that are providing the care and giving them resources, and us all knowing the best place to go to get health care and therapy and caregiving and all those things. We can help each other with that. So I feel like as we help each other, we are going to be helping all these adults with Down syndrome, and their lives are going to be better because of it.
And the world will be a better place. A lot of times we look at the people with disabilities that we worked with in the past, and we think, how much better would our world be if it was a lot more like this? Yeah. Well, thanks for being a part of this episode. Listen, if you go to DownWithThat.Life, there is an opportunity there for you to get a free gift from us. It's about 10 tips on self-care, physically, mentally, emotionally, for you, because that's sort of a passion, especially with Cindy, and we're going to be doing some episodes in the future on that. But we would love to have you stop by the website. Consider joining the community. We are better together, and you don't have to do this alone. We look forward to seeing you again next time right here at DownWithThat.Life.